Hey everyone, welcome to my Rust 1.49 patch overview. No longer a review, more a walkthrough, get my thoughts on what's new in Rust Lang, not the video game. Yeah, we've done a couple of these in the past, and I kind of missed the 1.48 one. I did hit the 1.47, but 1.49 came out 3 days ago now, and I haven't really dug into it because I'm on vacation. So I figured I'd make a small video of just walking through the patch notes and reading what's new and sort of giving my thoughts on that stuff. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Yash. I sporadically contribute to the compiler, mostly on the standard lib side of things. I'm also involved with the async working group, and I do a variety of other Rust web related projects. But yeah, so I sometimes have some insights in things that land in patches. Sometimes you'll see some of my patches in the changelog here. So I don't know. Hope that's interesting enough. I just like everyone else, I don't have a complete overview of everything that happens in Rust at all times. So these patch notes are useful for me as well. So I figured I'd just make videos whenever I read them just to go over it. And hopefully, some of these things can be contextualized. Yeah. I guess I'm putting this on YouTube. If you have any questions, you can ask questions in the comment section below. Whatever. All right, let's go through this. Yeah, so announcing Rust 1.49. Here's how you install it. That's every time the same. And there's detailed release notes, which we'll get to in a bit. So I'm going to go over the regular patch notes first, the highlights, so to say, and then over the detailed point-by-point notes, which sometimes contain interesting little tidbits that didn't make it to the general thing. All right. So what's new? 64-bit ARM Linux reaches tier 1. Cool. 64-bit ARM macOS and Windows reach tier 2. Nice. Okay, so these are the respective architectures. AA Arch Unknown Linux New is now tier 1, and AA Arch 64 Apple Darwin and AA Arch PC Windows MSVC, ooh, nice, reach tier 2. So for those of you who don't know what tiers are, there's an overview here, but briefly, tier 1 means every single PR that is made to the compiler is expected to pass the test suite, and this target, what this means is this target is now part of the general Rust test suite. If something doesn't compile for 64-bit ARM Linux, then simply, a test will not be, or a contribution will not be accepted. That's as easy as that. So tier 2 means you can expect a degree of support or things to work that is roughly equivalent to tier 1, except if something doesn't work, it isn't necessarily, caught by the test suite. Just different guarantees. So essentially what this means is as soon as, or probably, I would hope, once there is GitHub Actions, which is what the compiler runs their CI on, once that supports Apple Darwin targets to compile code on and to test stuff on, then Apple Darwin can be moved up to tier 1. I would expect the same for Windows. It sort of seems inevitable that 64-bit ARM will just be commonplace and a tier 1 target eventually. But yeah, it requires CI integration, so that's why this is now tier 2 on the road to tier 1, I would imagine. For sure for Darwin, and I would hope also for Microsoft Windows. My guess is if it isn't, then Microsoft itself will chime in, be like, hey, okay, let's figure this out so we can actually make this a first-class thing, because they seem to like Rust. All right, but that's exciting. So platforms are making progress, and what that means for the Rust project is things that need to target these things, Rust will become a more viable choice, or a more robust choice to use on these platforms. So yeah, I don't really want to go into why these platforms are interesting. The new macOS has an ARM chip. Lots of computers are getting ARM chips. So yeah, just makes sense that this different architecture, is starting to see better support. All right, cool. Next one. Test framework captures output in threads. Rust's built-in testing framework doesn't have a ton of features, but that doesn't mean it can't be improved. Consider a test that looks like this. This is such a sad sentence. Rust doesn't have many features, but we can always do better. I'm I think Rust test framework has quite a few features, really. It's like coming from JavaScript, which like doesn't have a built-in test framework. I used to use the TAP suite, the test anything protocol. And like if you want to talk sparse, like you got it right there, right? Like it just like outputs the standard out in a particular like format. Rust like test suite testing framework is like multi-threaded. It can like capture output. You can filter on a variety of things. I don't know. I think this is a little bit too pessimistic of a sentence, but whatever. All right, so consider a test that looks like this. So we have a function here. We say print something, spawn a thing, join it on the current thread, and then print this thing. So this will print, then these two, then the last one, right? Oh, and now we see that before Rust 1.49, before this patch, right? Only phi, running one test, phi and fo. All right, so the outer ones would not print, only the inner ones would print. Amazing. I did not know that. Okay, cool. So it appears the output capture, like as soon as you spawn the thread, and captures whatever's in the thread, and then, you know, it leaves the outer thread like to be again. You see how the output from the thread is printed, which intermixes from the output test framework itself. Would it be nice if every print line worked like that one that prints fum? Where's fum? Okay, so we see fum here, which is not here. And then they're talking about something that prints here. Oh, I see. Okay. Never mind. So what's going on here is like, because this test passes, you know, we don't really care about the output. We just expect it to work, right? So this one doesn't show up and this one doesn't show up because the test runner knows like, hey, nothing's going on. All right. And the change now is that the test runner is aware of inner threads and can hide all the output or can show all the output depending on whether or not it passes, and does so correctly in order. Yeah, all right. I was confused there for a second. Should have read the whole thing. All right. Yeah, cool. So indeed, now, you know, if a test doesn't pass, then all the output is shown from every single thread in the order that it was printed. So capture standard out. And, you know, conversely, if stuff passes, we no longer see random print lines like popping out because it's inside of a thread. No, it's correctly, nicely hidden, which is good. Cool. That's just a nice little quality of life improvement to make these things work the way they should. It also means, I believe I saw somewhere on Twitter, it means we no longer need to pass -- no capture, -- no capture. So you would sometimes do cargo test -- no capture, I believe is the command. And then this would like run a thing. Oh, was it a single word? Yeah, to force the thing to print. Oh, yeah, you need to. Oh, it was this really annoying thing. So you had to do -- no capture. Yeah, there we go. And now I complain. It's like, there's no cargo toml here in this root file. That's like fine, right? But yeah, no longer need that. That's a good change, in my opinion. All right, cool. Now library changes. Not much. So we have 3 new functions. Select nth unstable, select nth unstable by, select nth unstable by key. I never used the by key variants, but let's take a look. So that's for slice. Oh, fascinating. What? Partition at index by key. Oh, okay. So that's a top one here. For whatever reason, this one is still unstable. It's unstable and deprecated. All right, cool. That's a different thing. Okay, so select nth unstable by. What does it do? Reorder the slide. Let me up the font size here. So it says reorder the slice such that the element at index is at its final sorted position. Okay. The reordering has the additional property. You can see I've like never used this or even like read this. This reordering has the additional property at any value at position I smaller than index will be less than or equal to any value at position j of index. Okay, let's just look at the example first. So we have -5, an array of I32s, -5, 4, 1, -3, and 2. Okay, and then we say select nth unstable 2, and it says find the median. Oh, fascinating. We are only guaranteed to slice will be one of the following based on the way we sort about the specified index. -3, -5, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 4, 2. Interesting. Okay, so what does that to argument do? It says index. All right, is at its final sorted position. Oh, interesting. So, all right. Rereading this is, say you only want to know, like you have a particular item, yeah, you just know of a specific item. Let's say you have a array of usernames and you want to find the username Chashu somewhere there and like sort it relative to the other ones. You don't care about the order of the rest of them. You just care about the order of Chashu, and then you sort it and you get back like the exact thing. You just only sort Chashu. Interesting. Okay, and the way it is done, it is sort unstable. All right. Select ends unstable by, and this then takes a compare function. So it's a callback that's called on every single item to compare a thing, which is useful when, for example, you don't have like a direct ORD impl. And then we say, or you have like a specific ordering you want. Select ends unstable by key, and then this does something different. Yeah, I always forget what this is. With a key extraction function. Okay, so funmut tk, funmut tt ordering. Okay, so yeah, all right, I'll believe this. All right, so this gets a key value pair and it returns the value or something like that, but it orders by key. Yeah, key orders by key, and you can like get a value out of it. All right, cool. This seems somewhat niche. I'm not sure when you would particularly want to use this. I sort of understand what it does, but yeah, I guess I'm missing some motivation. I guess we could like dive in and like look at the specific RFC and the motivate, or the PR that added this and the motivation for it. Stabilization, usually they repeat what the reasoning was. Just seems like, oh, here's like a very specific ordering function that is likely a little bit more performant, which, you know, seems fine. I don't think I'll be using this much for at least the work I do. Anyway, yeah. All right, moving on. Two functions were made const. So poll is ready, poll is pending. That's nice. These are now const defends, so it returns true if poll ready. Like it's just the enum accessor, right? Poll pending also just, you know, oh, it even flips it around. Yeah, like this is an enum of two members, and just, you know, you do a thing. All right, what else changed? Rust, cargo, and Clippy as well. Cool. All right, so let's take a sec to take a look at the detailed patch notes. All right, so language. What's new in the Rust language? Unions can now implement drop. You can now have a field in a union with manually drop T. Fascinating. So for those of you who are like new to Rust, you may have heard of enums, which is a type which says like, well, you can have like, it's like a bag of types, and you say, well, this thing can be either true or false. For example, that's like version of an enum, or an option, some or none. Right? It's always like in one state, but it knows it has multiple states. A union is a bit different. It's like a similar concept. Like a thing is like one of these states, but where they describe, they know which state they're in. So they have a little tag of like, I'm currently some, or I'm currently none. A union does not. It doesn't like contain the thing. Enums are also sometimes called tagged unions, because they have a tag which says like which state they're in. Unions commonly used for interfacing with C things, C++ as well. FFI, crossing FFI boundaries. They're highly unsafe because they don't, you keep the state, like which variant are they in. You keep you store it outside of like the thing itself. So, you know, Yeah, things get kind of weird, and you can't really reason about it like properly anymore. So they're just strictly unsafe. But it appears they are now made a little bit nicer. So you can say like, hey, they implement drop, or you can do a thing and tag a value inside of it as manually drop. So you can start using like some amazing. You can start using like some more rusty constructs on it. What I wonder is like if you add a drop impl to a union and then you send it through an FFI, if it'll still like drop by itself. I don't believe it does. Like you'll need to call drop on it manually from inside of C. Yeah, 100%. But still nice. All right, so Ralph made this, who has a PhD in unsafe essentially. So yeah, this is cool. I'm not gonna dig in too deep. I'm not an FFI expert, but it's nice to know this is now able to be done. All right, next language item. You can now cast uninhabited enums to integers. I don't know what uninhabited enum is. Is that just enum with no members? So Mark Simulacrum from the core team made this. This reverts part of this PR. Okay, what does this do? Self.variance is empty. Let's look at a quick little example. Fascinating. Okay, so we have an enum E here with no members, and then we can call as iSize on it, and that will work. All right, cool. I'm gonna open up Playground. Enum foo. Let x equals foo. Debug. We can't debug it. We're just gonna check that it's valid. X. Okay, and this should work. Boop, 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 boop. Foo is not a struct variant or enum type. Enum foo. Oh, wait, hold on. How do you construct a enum that isn't like a... I want to reread this. I want to understand what they're doing here. E. Oh, wait, it's just like a tag. Right, okay. I see. So you can't construct this. And now I wonder what this converts into. Oh, can we even like run it? Function main, it doesn't run. Uninhabited enum cast. Can we like even call this? Maybe we can just, yeah, I'm not too sure. Like it doesn't seem practical. It might seem practical for like some type trickery that I don't quite catch right now. We'd have to like read like the PR before this, be like, what are they trying to do here? Why that happened? 2013, jeez. Okay, yeah, I don't necessarily understand. I don't understand like the reasoning here. Okay, wait, hold on. The change code was only called from casting checks and appears to not affect any callers that are permitting this one case. Jeez. Okay. People are like, so what does this compile to? All right, fascinating. Pushed up a thing. Okay. I have no idea. There's something there, maybe like maybe it's even like just for a language to be like, well, we allow this. Now the language is more consistent. Something like that. I truly don't know. It's fun though. All right. You can now bind by reference and by move in patterns. This allows you to selectively borrow individual components of a type. Wait, why was this not highlighted? What? All right. So I should have just jumped to this being like, hey, there's an example here. Like this seems important or at least more relevant. Wow. Okay. So what do we have? So we have a struct person, sure, 2 fields, doesn't matter. We initialize person, okay, 2 values, doesn't matter. And then we say let person name ref age person. So name is moved out of person, but age is referenced. Wow, fascinating. So I know that Rust, there's a working group to get like, I guess treat every field in a struct as an individual variable with its individual lifetime. So you can get like disjoint borrows. Instead, currently it seems, well, before 1.49, it seemed that strictly at every single position, like a struct was reasoned about like as a single thing. So if you wanted to like borrow field A or like field name from struct and then borrow field age from the struct, it would be like, well, struct's already borrowed, you know. But it's able to do like, I believe it's called disjoint captures is the work that's being done there. And it seems that something has progressed so that at least now we can do to some degree disjoint captures. Actually, let's take a look at the PR. August 30th. Wow. Whoa. Wow, it has like a lot of activity. 50 files changed. Initially, the rule, future work, anything that's not done yet. Demonstrating partial move. Okay, so we have partial moves. This is huge, I think. Wow. Maybe there's like a bigger feature like coming up later on. Wow. Okay. Well, that's just short of amazing. We can now do partial borrows, and I don't know if there's limitations here. Like we'll have to find out, but wow. All right. You have it here in the detailed patch notes. We now have partial borrows to some degree. Wow. All right. No, it's so useful. Like any sort of like lifetime, whenever you're like battling lifetimes, it's because you like have some borrows and you want to send them through, and now you like need to split stuff up. So probably the way, yeah, I don't even like know. Like this just strictly enables like more stuff to work. Stuff you would imagine like would work now actually just works. Right. So whenever you hear people talk about like, oh, I don't know, borrow checker, kind of hard, difficult to work with, or I would expect this to work, why doesn't it work? You know, it's cases like these, like solving cases like these that actually make it like easier to work with, right? Because this was on paper, it was always valid to treat each individual variable as its own like lifetime. You can just reason about it, like, you know, you split them apart as long as they borrow correctly, it's like fine, right? But the compiler couldn't express it. And now it can, so that's a big deal. Yeah. All right, what do we see? All right, let's move on from language items to compiler items. Tier 1 support for this, and that we know. Tier 3 support for MIPSL unknown none. MIPS L, I don't know what the EL extension stands for. MIPS is an instruction set. MIPS 32R2. Okay, cool. So some variation of MIPS unknown. I think this means bare metal. Like it says unknown architecture or unknown like OS. I'm guessing, I don't know what the unknown here stands for. And then none means it's just not defined. All right, this looks like a bare metal thing. Jonas was tagged in it, which means it was some embedded, probably. All right, raise the minimum support LVM version to LVM 9. Okay, we have a better LVM version. I don't know which one we're on, like 11, I think, maybe. Output from thread spawn and test is now captured. We've seen that. Change OS and vendor values to none and unknown for some targets. All right, let's take a look. So the strings have been changed for a few because there's just like an empty string here. And instead it's now just like none in some cases. WASM 32 unknown. Okay. Can use OS unknown. All right, I don't, sure. Yeah, that truly is like a little patch note there just for for completion. Libraries. Range inclusive can now checks for exhaustion when calling contains an indexing. Actually, let's close this. Is this? No, it's cargo. So range inclusive now checks for exhaustion when calling contains an indexing. When range has finished the iteration, is empty returns true. So it should also be a case that contains returns false. So this just hard codes a path. Is that it? I don't understand it. It's okay. It just seems like it's slightly more consistent now. When calling contains. All right. ToString now no longer shrinks the internal buffer in the default implementation. All right. So you should not be calling, or should you be calling ToString? Shrink to fit seems like the wrong thing to do here in most cases of ToString. Buff shrink to fit. ToString for T, where T format displays size. Okay. All right. Sure. It just seems like a small fix. All right, cool. Ops index, index mute are now implemented for fixed size arrays of any length. Wow. Okay, so we define an array here, right? And then we can just directly index into them. And we're not limited by the 24 items max cap. Hey, this I would have highlighted this, I think. Like this seems significant. There used to be like this one trait that said like implement index for array up until like 32 items. But I believe that constraint is now let go of. Amazing. I think that's what this means. Yeah, you can now index for any like size array, any length array, right? Yep. Amazing. Cool. Stabilized APIs. Yep, we've seen that. Cargo. Oh, this is the full cargo patch notes, and there's just like it's just like a little bit of cargo patch notes. Building a crate with cargo package should now be independently reproducible. Cool. Cargo package builds a tarball out of a crate. Cargo tree now marks proc macro crates. Didn't even know cargo tree was like built in. That's like really nice. Output. Oh yeah, sweet. So now you can see like if there's a proc macro, it'll just say, hey, there's a proc macro here. It seems very useful to track down to, yeah. Because proc macros can take quite a while to compile. There's work done, I believe, to make them faster to compile. I just don't know what the state of that is. If anything, like just knowing that something's a proc macro crate is going to be helpful, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it allows you to determine like, hey, are proc macros slowing me down? How long do they take? Maybe I should remove this and just hand roll the thing. Oftentimes they're just a convenience thing. You don't really need them, but sometimes you do. At least now you'll be able to tell a bit easier. That seems good. Cargo primary package build time environment variable. This variable will be set if a crate being built is one of the selected to be built either with -p or through defaults. This is fantastic news. Yeah, amazing. All right, so this is really cool because what gives you is the name of the crate that's being built. I think I can like show you probably in Rust Playground. So the name of this thing is cargo _ primary package. Okay. Debug and cargo primary package. Let's take a look. The name of this package is 1. Amazing. Now we always had a variable called cargo package name, I believe, or cargo name or something. Let's see if cargo name, cargo crate, crate name, something like that. But like that wouldn't work. Oh, fascinating. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. So that works. The cargo crate name here is playground, but it lives as part of like a different, it's incorporated inside of a different thing called 1, I think, if I'm understanding it correctly. Right, this will be set if a crate is being built is one the user selected to build either with -p or through defaults. My understanding of this is, say we're in a library and we want to know the name of the top level crate that's being built. Now it will have a way to know that, like 100% of the time. Before that, you needed to pass stuff down from the top level, be like, call cargo crate name there, and pass it down, up until the place that wanted to use the variable. For example, crates like struct_opt, which is a CLI library, you need to give it a crate name, right? When you're instantiating the thing. You can't just be like, oh, it can figure out what the name of the top level thing is. So it always needs to be passed down. I had some projects that kind of wanted to have this information, and like passing it down is just a little bit annoying because now you need to invoke the top level macro, and there's like not an easy way to just get it, right? So you need to call env bang cargo _ crate _ name, right? And like the whole boilerplate then becomes like this whole magic invocation thing. And now instead we can, have a thing that says function foo, and then here it can like determine what the crate name is. So now, before, it had to be something like this, and then here we would. Right, so it's just one less argument that needs to be like passed down. This is what we can do now. Before we had to do this, and then we had to call X, like with this whole invocation here. So it's a usage differential from going from this to now you can just do this. Just nice. Yeah, small quality of life thing, particularly relevant, I guess, if you're building CLI stuff. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Cool. What's next? You can now use glob patterns when specifying packages and targets. That seems nice as well. Guessing. Yeah, cargo, any of these things now except globs. That's useful. Cool. So if you want to say like, hey, give me every single item under, you know, everything that ends with bar, star, bar, and it should just like complete, probably. Didn't used to. I just would do a string match, like yeah, I don't know what it's called. So you could still like select a multitude of things, but now people probably expect the globs to work. Now it just work. Compat notes, FreeBSD unknown support, host tier to target tier. I don't know what that is. I don't particularly care. Macros that end with a semicolon or treat as statements, even if they expand to nothing. That seems nice. Maybe they have an example. If they have an example, I can talk about this. Macro rules empty. True would be considered a trailing expression, even though there is a semicolon empty. This makes macro expansion more token based. Ah, good. Good. Yeah. So this would expand to nothing, and then you would call this, and then this, and this would still compile. And that's kind of weird because we're returning here, like this should be returning, but then we do another thing after. Just seems more consistent now. Seems like a fix. Rusty will not check for validity of some built-in attributes on enum variants. I wonder which. Check adder on more targets. So check adder is apparently a thing. Repr UA. Okay, so LCNR is asking, so this may now fail because this, I believe, is the I32 as we just saw. And now it's like represented as, you know, a U8. So this would be invalid. And now that's being caught sooner. So less UB, I guess, undefined behavior. Hopefully. Seems nice. Leading whitespace is stripped more uniformly in documentation commons, which may change behavior. You can read about the changes for more details. Okay, great. Less odd whitespace stuff around. Trade bounds are no longer inferred for associated types. Oh, fascinating. Rylev. Oh, Ryan. Found this thing. The trade handle item is not implemented for H. All right, it's something about the way trades are resolved. Sure. Yeah, internal only. Okay, that's fine. Cool. I think that's all for 1.49 then. I think we covered quite a few things. All right. So what Rust is it? Next patch should be landing in 39 days on February 12th. What day of the week is that? I don't know. It's usually like stuff is usually released on Thursdays. So yeah, nice. Rust 1.50 it's gonna contain some of my work, I believe. The wake trait should have been stabilized by then. Some other stuff, but yeah, we'll cover that. Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. It's really weird. I'm sitting in a room with a camera. I'm just saying thanks so much for tuning in. But yeah, appreciate you all joining, and I'll see you around.